everybody. Welcome back to another live Thirstful Thursday. Today, drinking water. We're always talking about drinking water. Okay, the truth of the matter is everybody says, I drink a lot of water, but I always am dehydrated. How do you know? How do you know when you're hydrated or not hydrated? That's really the question. So today I want to cover a little bit about the question of why water is so important, number one, and how hydration is actually a formula that is water plus electrolyte minerals or minerals. That equals hydration. So to get there, we're going to have to study a little bit about what it means to have water, what the minerals are doing. That's the first part. The second part, we're going to kind of cover a little bit of how you parse the water in your body. Where does it go? Does it go extracellular? Does it go intracellular? And what do these two compartments have to do that are the same, and what makes them different, and how do we manage the flow between the two? And then last, we're going to talk about light balance and how you can use it three different ways to either prime your day to get started electrically, pump it up, A, B, you can use it to perform and work all day long while you're using it, and then also you can use it as a recovery drink. That's threefold. Let's get started. But first, a toast. I love this stuff. Ah, it's really good. Okay, first part about light balance is hydration. First part of hydration equals water and electrolytes. Water. Let's take it apart. Everybody knows about water. Rain, rivers, lakes, streams, out of your tap, bottled water, however you want it. That's pretty much the same. The universal solvent, we need it for every part of our body. There is no part of our body that is completely dry. Even your bones are actually like wet. They're like 40% liquid, believe it or not. They're a moist, spongy coral reef inside your body, okay? So think about that for a minute. The second thing we want to talk about is the minerals themselves. All mineral salts in water create electricity. So when you think about water, you also want to add in food. Remember that vegetables and fruits also have liquid and they have minerals. Even dry foods can have some. Potato chips, not so much. But when you think about eating on a snack of like an apple, it's got a lot of fluid in it. So when you think of water, also consider we mean foods that are wet themselves and mineralized. Moving over a little bit further, now we want to talk about minerals, electrolytes. All minerals in water have an electrical charge. That makes them an electrolyte. Combinations of minerals in water have electrical charges. That makes them also electrolytes. You can make a simple electrolyte by putting salt from your shaker into water. That is an electrolyte, technically. Not as robust as other ones, and certainly not as robust as an electrolyte that has calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, phosphorus, sulfur, bicarbonates, chlorides. That's a pretty rich mix of electrolytes right there. And they all do different things. So the question is, if you're drinking water, a bunch of it or a little of it all day long, or maybe water doesn't taste good to you and you really don't drink it, you'd rather have coffee or tea or some soda pop. Think about that for a minute. For hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of generations, you have basically been drinking water. Pop, tea, coffee, those are all like 200-300 years old, maybe 400 in the case of coffee. But mostly you should be drinking water. All right, how am I doing when it comes to hydration? Well, with light balance, you can always taste it. 1 capful in 8 ounces of water. See how it tastes to you. Do you like that taste? Is it too salty? If it's too salty, you'll use less light balance and more water, and then test it in about a week and see when you start to change. As your electrolyte levels climb, your ratio to water and salt starts to equal out. Do you like 1 capful or 2 capfuls? If you like 2 capfuls in water, okay, try it. See how it works for you. Notice what changes. As you use light balance, your hydration rates are going to change. How much you sweat is going to change. How often you pee is going to change. This is quite normal. When we talk about a balance, though, between the two, how do you know when you're getting balanced? Somewhere between a capful to 2 capfuls in 8 ounces of water is going to taste right for you, and that'll hold pretty consistent. Well, let's talk about some of the biomarkers in your body that let you know you're actually getting hydrated. We can theorize about how much water you need. Why don't we try to figure out what exactly does it look like when you have enough? Take a look in the mirror like you do every morning. Look for lots of wrinkles under your eyes. Look for wrinkly lips, cracked and chapped lips. That's the first place to look. They should be able to full up and plump up a little bit. Less wrinkles in your face, less of a drawn look. You know what that look is. You've seen it. You see it especially after you've had a night of drinking or not getting much sleep or you've been sick. You know what I mean. The best way, though, that we found is you can use about 4 things or 5 things about your hands. Very simple. Start, put your hands on your lap. Let them sit there for a little bit. Look down at them and look to see if there are any veins coming up on the back of your hand. Are they coming up? Do you have 3, 4, or 5 of them? Can you see mine? Let's see if we can get close enough. Okay, there's some veins there. Now what you're looking for right now is where's my water level? So if you hold up your hand slowly, there's a point where those veins are going to disappear. And it should be right about your eye level. They're going to soften and go down off the top of your hand, and they're going to get flat. And if you slowly bring your hand down and watch, you'll see where they fill up again. Now most people end up with a fluid level right about here. It really should be able to hold on right here. If you hold your hand straight up in the air and the veins never go away, that's not a good sign either. They should come into view at about here and stay with you, and then they keep here. If they're not coming up here yet, you're a little bit low. Now let me show you what that means in your body. Think about a jug of water with the cap off and it's low, maybe 2/3 full. If you squeeze the jug, you can get the water to come out the top. Your body does the same thing when you're dehydrated. It tightens up your core muscles. It squeezes, it shrinks itself to make the water go further. You don't want to be shrunk. That makes you not relaxed. When you're full of the right capacity of water, then you're relaxed. When somebody massages you, it feels good. If somebody massages you and it hurts, it's too tight, that's a sign of dehydration, long-term dehydration, and it's critical. You want to go ahead and soften that. You want to mix your electrolytes in more often throughout the day. Second thing you can do with your hands, have a race with one of your friends. Hold out your hand. The color should be pretty even from front to back on your fingers and your palm. Give it a minute. Don't just do it quickly. Let it rest for a second. But then look at that. Is there a blue spot on your palm? Do you have low blood pressure or your hand's cold? Is the color uneven? If you have a blue spot and they're cold, you're a little dehydrated. Press down. See if you get the color to go away and how quickly it comes back. You probably can't see it that well, but it's called a perfusion test, and nurses have been doing this forever. You can pinch this area and let it go and see how quickly it recovers to normal. You should be able to count that, like 1, 2, 3. If you're at the 3s, it's a little slow. If you're at the 1s, that's better. Mine runs about a 1. I can do the fingertip. Same thing. I think that one better. It comes right back real quickly. Then there's the pinch test the nurses do. You ever wonder, they come in and they pick up your hand and they hold it for a second. They're kind of feeling how warm it is. And then they might pinch your skin and see how quickly it comes back to normal. That's the pinch test. These are all tools that nurses have used for a long time just to check to see how well you're holding on to the fluids. It's not just about how much water you drink. It's how much you hold on to. Holding on to water and only expending it when you need to, but being able to keep it inside you is a way to keep yourself relaxed. Now, real quick about intracellular and extracellular. This is the landscape model of where does the water go. When you look at a mix of electrolytes like sodium, potassium, magnesium, and when you bring your own, mixing your electrolytes with a dairy product or a nut milk or something that has calcium and fat. But when you look at those electrolytes, look at them like this. Intracellular is everything inside the cell, just inside the cell. You got a lot of cells in your body, something like 10 to the 42nd power. That's a bunch. But that little motor inside your cell, the mitochondrial motor, is making the spark of life for your body. It is the ability for the cell to move anywhere in your body and communicate with what's going on and feed good nutrients and take away garbage and give information into your whole musculature, skeletal, mental, emotional, all your nerves. Traveling through the veins, then, is this little cell. The little cell travels in the veins. All the fluid outside the cell is the extracellular portion. Extracellular fluid is incredible. Even though it's only 15% of the total, 60% of your body, 45% is living in the cell. Amazing. It's all inside the little cells in your body. 15% is all the rest, from the wetness in your eyes, to your spit, saliva, to your nasal passages, how moist they are, to the way that you sweat, to the oils even on your skin that come out with the fluids. These are all your extracellular stuff. Even your mouth, your intestines, all the way through to the bottom and out. That's the outside of your inside that's kept moist by extracellular fluids. Now, why is that important? Because in the big fight against too much sodium, we neglect to realize that sodium is an important part of your extracellular regions. It is the dominant electrolyte. So if you don't sweat, and your hands are cold, and your eyes are always dry, and your lips are always chapped, you obviously don't have enough of your extracellular fluid, and that's your sodium bases. So you follow this landscape, you can start to track where you have trouble. If you have trouble with your bowels, if you have trouble with your stomach and your bowels, and you can't seem to hold on to good nutrients, or they're irritable, this could be also related to your electrolyte mix. You have to think about that. Where's your balance? If your blood pressure is extremely low or extremely high, you have an electrolyte issue going on. It's clear. So these are the ways that electrolytes interact with your body and the flow of water from your intracellular to your extracellular. They actually shift places. If you get in trouble and you have to work out and it gets really hot, you'll squeeze water out of the intracellular region and push it into the extracellular region. Of course, when you're done, you come back and you've got less in both, unless you recover and build the electrolytes again. And that's the last part of today's talk. The way this electrolyte is built, it has no preservatives, it has no flavor. You mix it with whatever you want, and this is the important part. We like to think there are 3 ways to mix it. The first one is called prime. Prime is when you get up in the morning or before you're going to work out, or before you drive to work. You put this in a juice, something that has a little bit of glucose and some carbohydrate in it, and it gets right into your bloodstream quickly, giving you a quick spark, a lot like some of you like caffeine to do. That's what happens when you use it in the prime way. If you're going to do performance and you're going to work all day, maybe you're going to be out in the yard working, or maybe you're taking a long hike, or maybe even you're running a marathon, you're going to want this mixed into your water bottle. Just plain with water. You don't need anything else. It runs through quickly through the system. It flows like a river, and it keeps you moving. The third way, though, is the critical one. If you're trying to make change happen, and you want to build a better body, and you want to drive the electrolytes into the bone, into the muscle, into the tissue, for healing and recovery purposes, and to build your battery, you're going to want to mix this light balance perhaps with bone broth, which I was reminded today is a fabulous way to add fats and protein and electrolytes into your body. The way that we've done it for years before bone broth became popular was we did it in milk. Regular plain milk or chocolate milk. But now, a lot of people don't like to use milk, dairy products, or they can't. How about kefir? Works fabulous. Or yogurt. And you only need 2 to 3 ounces to a capful, because that's a real strong carrier of that product. If you can't use any dairy at all, then switch over to one of the nut milks or the pea milks, vegetable-based milk format that actually adds calcium into it to give it a milk-like flavor. If you do that, then you're going to use recovery to your advantage. A lot of people say, I use your electrolyte, I just put it in water. Well, you're only getting about 30% of the benefit if you only use it in water. You can prime yourself and give yourself some energy with the priming, 1 cap, and put it in juice, or 2 caps. And you can also do the recovery, which really encourages you to find fat, protein, and calcium. Fat, protein, and calcium, and then add electrolytes to that. And that can even be a food. It can be mashed potatoes. It can be scrambled eggs. They'll both work. Hot spinach salad spritzed with electrolytes, another calcium bomb, if you like. So, oatmeal, also. That's what you're going to be doing. Mix it up different ways. Use it in all the ways possible if you really want to grow with it. Thanks for letting me chat and take up your time. I appreciate your support. Good luck out there.